What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now, in the aftermath of Game 2, there were quite a few things to take away. The one thing mainly is that the Knicks' biggest enemy in this series is themselves. Some of the things that went in their favor in Game 1, like having Anthony Towns attack the rim, they really stopped going to. Also, the third quarter really comes into question where the Knicks only had 4 points with about 4 minutes left. There were way too many issues to count. Jalen Brunson was not really even involved in isolation like that in that time period. So we're going to take a deep dive into that. And I'm not going to lie, Tibbs really didn't look good at that moment. The Knicks have way too much offensive firepower to be this stagnant against a younger team who were struggling themselves. But in the midst of all that, the Knicks were still able to be in prime position to take over the game. But we had some of our main guys not being able to come up big in certain spots. So in this segment, we'll take a deeper dive into some of these situations and how the Knicks could have actually had alleviated the offense and made things run much smoother. But hey, I'm not going to say no more. Let's just get to it.
This is a newspaper, right? It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining. That's why I read it, because it entertains me. You won't let me read it, so you entertain me with your bullshit. Tell me a story right now. Go.
I'll go right.
Now we're going to get straight to it and jump into this third quarter. What was going on here? The Knicks were only down 8 points going into halftime. 8 points against an unsophisticated Pistons team. They're not all that. Beasley was struggling. Tim Hardaway Jr. was struggling. They themselves had offensive issues. The Pistons didn't even give Cade the ball like that during this time span. Surprisingly, JB was off ball for most of the quarter. It's not like he was sitting in a bunch of ISOs missing shots. They had a couple missed open three-point shots. Mikal missed a transition three. OG had an open shot that he missed. Anthony Towns and Josh Hart had a couple of tough drives. Again, it wasn't JB bringing the ball up for most of this time period. So sometimes guys were stuck on ISO one-on-ones with the shot clock winding down. And even JB, he had a play where he tried to draw a foul just like in Game 1. But again, this is where the coach comes into play. And I'm not one of these let's fire Tibbs kind of guy. But damn, this offense was looking basic as fuck. And they have way too much talent on this team for just the flow to look like this. Tibbs just got extended. I'm not saying they should act on anything. But if there's a domino to fall, for them to actually begin to reconsider if Tibbs should be this coach going forward, I would say, wow, it's right here in Game 2 in this third quarter. It could be the first domino or it could be the second. Maybe they've been evaluating him for a good minute because his extension seemed kind of short. Right here, this is where this imagination comes through. Plenty of time left in the shot clock, right? But check out who's on the floor. Jalen Brunson. Why not bring him into this? Bring him here. This is how they're going to alleviate some of that because they're young players and just them being involved in all that losing from last season. They don't really have the experience here. And this is where the Knicks could start manipulating situations like this. Right here, I know Mitch is in this lineup. And this is what kind of sucks sometimes about having him and Towns in these two big man lineups. It's hard to exploit guys like Duran. It would be nice to see the Knicks start manipulating players off ball like Mitch right here. Get him involved with OG to get a switch. Now OG can have Duran on him, and now you drag OG up here with a screen. Force Duran to come up. If OG pops out, he pops out. Or if he dives and rolls, he's big enough or just, has the skill set enough to go ahead and finish. But instead, we just get like stale possessions like this. Here's another example right here. You see how Sir Thompson is on Josh Hart? Right now, Cat is coming to screen on Brunson. Instead, why not have Josh Hart and Towns run a little action right here to get a switch? Now you can have Cat on Asar and now drag Asar up here. These young guys are making a lot of mistakes, and we've seen it play out in Game 1. It was a prime example. But this switch right here really leads to nothing. You see it now, Asar, because he was on Josh Hart, now he's helping out. Let's take a look at it again. Same possession, this time real early in it. Look at Cat. He's going right here. Why not get a pin down on Asar and then drag him up? Same thing if this was Jalen Brunson. Do the same thing. Get a switch right here. Cat, pin him down. Screen for Josh Hart, pin him down. Force some of the Pistons' younger players to be in positions to having to make certain choices. I understand that this wouldn't quite be a favorable matchup having Ausar come up, but then let's see how he reacts. Is he going to overplay this? Is he going to blitz Brunson? Could Brunson dump it over the top? Now you have Towns. He's the roll man. So now Ausar has to react. He can't help out too hard because Towns could pop out for a 3 or Towns can drive. This is a perfect scenario right here. Running pick and roll on Ausar Thompson and Jalen Duren, forcing the younger players to make some decisions. How they going to react on some of these pick and rolls? Now, if the pass got there better, Mitch could actually already have it waist level and perhaps hit Josh Hart off. But you start to see more options open up because now the Pistons have to collapse more. They've picked on the Pistons' younger guys earlier. Check out right here in the first quarter. You got Ausar and Cade involved, and Ausar is going to misread this. Here's another prime example in that first quarter. We got Josh Hart setting a screen on Ausar, and then we got Jalen Duren right here. So the Pistons, both of their younger players are involved, and this is a half-ass hedge right here by Jalen Duren, and now the Knicks offense is opened up for much better looks, even though OG didn't convert. There's just going to be plenty of opportunities to take advantage of the Pistons' inexperience. As Ausar Thompson right here, remembering game 1, this little hesitation, Jalen Brunson caught him lacking. I don't know if he's talking to the ref, but Brunson just catches him lacking. He doesn't expect him to go and gives up a crucial go-ahead bucket. This quarter said a lot. I tell you that. It really did. Again, the Knicks only scored 4 points for almost 70% of the quarter. And for them to go into the fourth only down 8 points after trailing 6 points by halftime. I mean, they were still under single digits. The offense not having no imagination. On the defensive side, the guys started slipping a little bit on the pick and roll defending Cade. He was going over the top. Guys kind of had a few slip ups. It was just a lot going on. And on top of that, we're missing open shots. So this team is in a very fortunate position. But again, just going into this offseason, this third quarter said a lot. And it wouldn't shock any of us if, hey, Tibbs, man, them pink slips might be coming sooner than later. I don't want to jinx it, but damn, this did not look good at all. Now, jumping to the defense, in game 2, our core guys like Jalen Brunson, Anthony Towns, the effort was not there. Unlike in game 1, in these pick and rolls right here, Brunson with this half-ass hedge. Him and Cat all game long, just the effort was inconsistent. Here's another play right here where JB doesn't necessarily anticipate Cade coming downhill. And the Pistons in game 2, they did a great job of getting Cade the ball in different spots. He didn't necessarily just bring up the ball and just run the play off rip. So they get into some handoff with a screen, and Cade comes right downhill. Look where Brunson's at. He's not going to be able to slow Cade down. Cade just picks the Knicks apart, but he just misses it with a pass. But you see how just having Cade come downhill like this, he's going to pick you apart. Brunson is not really going to get back in front of him. He's going to use that size to keep Brunson at bay. And also, he's going to exercise his options based on, if OG collapses here on the roller, or if the three-point shooter is open, he's going to be able to make that pass with his height, or he could just finish it himself. But instead, we see Paul Reed with the butterfingers. It's really the small things. Guys got to get organized early. Right here, JB is sleeping too far back. Just way too far back right here. And he's late on the contest. And a lot of the Knicks' defensive issues with Cade really took place early in these possessions. As OG gets a screen, look how far back Brunson is. There's no ball pressure, and Cade takes full advantage of that. And you can see the frustration from Brunson. Again, we got to take a look at the Knicks leaders. Look at Karl-Anthony Towns. No pressure right here. Cade easily blows by him and creates an opportunity. And Karl-Anthony Towns, out of everybody, he has no excuse of why he can't hedge hard in a play like this. Prime example is because he's going to have Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. They're not really a threat on this handoff right here. They don't make fast enough decisions, and they really don't have the skill set to put the ball on the ground and just take it to the rack themselves. Cunningham was surgical in this game, I'm not going to lie. He was getting to his spots. He knew exactly what he wanted on early switches and possessions. He would get matched up with Mikal, and he would just go straight downhill and get to the rack every single time. And it seems like the OG Anunoby physicality, he's kind of already getting used to it as he's still getting to his spots. OG's still doing a great job though. But also I'm going to give credit to Mitchell Robinson. He really is giving Cade issues getting to the rack, especially on pick and rolls where Mitch, his wingspan it's in the way. Right here, we're going to see a prime example of Mitch in that weight loss. He's off position. He expected Cade to come right here, but Cade rejects his screen, and now he's going downhill. But look at Mitch. Knicks defense collapses, and it gets a turnover. Once again, right here, we see the Mitch and Cade pick and roll. Mitch bothers Cade enough for OG to recover and contest that. Here's another scenario with a pick and roll involving Cade with OG and Mitch, and there's no reason guys should not be hedging hard with Jalen Duren on the floor. He's not really a factor on this roll. See him in this position right here, not really a factor. And the same thing would apply to the top shot to Isaiah Stewart. When that man's on the floor, he could dribble a little bit better, but he's not necessarily the kind of guy that has that skill set to just put the ball on the floor and put a couple dance moves on to get to the rack. But Mitchell Robinson, he does bother Cade when taking the ball to the rack. Just that length. Mitch dropping about 20 pounds, being a little bit more agile on feet. But regardless of how good the defense is, at some point, Cade is going to get into his bag regardless. He's been pretty consistent throughout this whole season. He's one of the reasons why the Pistons went from one of the worst teams last season, just having a crazy record streak of just losing games in a row, to now that they're in the playoffs. And in game 2, he's really gotten into his bag. He's going 1v1, taking OG to the post. He's getting anywhere he wants on the court, even though his teammates, his main shooters, Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., didn't really give him anything. Here's an example of him getting anywhere he wants. JB with a decent hedge, nothing crazy, but he uses OG's momentum against him. And look at this tough shot making. Right over Mitch and OG. Also, check out his shooters. It's nothing crazy. You got Schroeder. Beasley is his best shooter. You got the rookie Duren down low. But his shooting options are not that crazy. Again, Cade has gotten accustomed to performing with the pressure coming from OG. Just all the contesting, the length, the speed. He's getting used to it. Right here, the game is getting tight, but Cade is starting to show some poise as OG barrels through some of these plays right here, but he stays patient. He uses that height, and he's able to make good decisions. And you don't really see this too much from younger players. Cade, just like Jalen Brunson, they have that old man game, where in the playoffs, it tends to work in their favor. The game is more half court, and that slow, methodical, just reading defense, that sort of play style, it really works. And we see Cade just utilizing that height and just making the proper reads. The longer this series carries on, it's not going to be a good thing for the Knicks. They don't want to give these younger players confidence. They don't have much to lose, and they're getting a little bop to their step. They're also hungry for some notoriety and success, and a long series is really not going to be a good thing. So jump into Jalen Brunson. We're going to do a deep dive into some of the looks that he was getting from this Pistons team defense. And ironic enough, going from game 1 to game 2, they were kind of playing him defensively the same way the Knicks were guarding Cade Cunningham in the pick and rolls in game 1. The Pistons played it very, very tight with these pick and rolls. Just look how Schroeder just jumps it very early on. They were doing the same thing to Cade Cunningham in game 1. OG would normally jump the pick. Meanwhile, Karl-Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson would hard hedge, put pressure on the ball, and then recover to their man. Jumping back to game 2, Schroeder anticipating the screen right here. It's going to be a hard hedge by Paul Reed, and Brunson works extra hard for the 1v1 situation. Just looking at it again, the only thing with Mitchell Robinson, I wish he had a better feel for his defender. Just right up on him. He could easily just ghost this. And then Brunson could just dump it over the top. Crazy. It makes you kind of miss Isaiah Hartenstein. And you know, just a quick side note, the Knicks missed a lot of easy offense. Look at Cat. It's going to be wide open. A lot of easy offensive opportunities. Here's another missed opportunity for easy offense heading down the stretch in the fourth. Mikal should have swung the ball quickly to Towns to get this 1v1 situation, which he's been dominating since game one, but they didn't really go to it. But it's a missed opportunity here, and instead they settle for the tougher shot. The Pistons were all over Brunson on these screens. Mitch is going to get a nice little rescreen right here. The Pistons defenders, they were a lot more attentive on the details in game two. So part of the offense stalling in that third quarter is JB really having to come off these screens. That's how they kind of had to run this offense. But Reed right here, he hedges just to delay Brunson going downhill, and the pass has to come in a much tighter space. Again, that third quarter was something else. Just a stagnation with the offense. And keep in mind, with Jalen Duren on the court, the Knicks easily could have got a switch right here and then forced Duren when he's on OG to come up and set this screen. Now you got Duren backpedaling and you got OG possibly on the roll. I know heading into this postseason, some of us like the Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns lineup, but this is the limitations of it right here. Because running a pick and roll with Mitch right here doesn't really lead to any advantage but Brunson just going downhill. It's not like Mitch is going to pick and pop or he's good at just handling the ball as the roll man. The imagination was definitely limited in this third quarter. And I'm telling you, it's an eye opener for Tibbs. It's almost like the light bell has gone off. And some of the Knicks upper brasses, I should say, maybe Leon Rose is, hey, we might need a new head coach. Because this Pistons team, the way they're lined up at this exact moment, is really not that sophisticated. Look at the shooters. They're really relying on Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. to be their three-point shooters. And in this game, they really don't have the sauce. But yet, the Knicks are even underperforming way beyond these guys. But again, they're still only down 10, which is crazy. But just going back to the point of the Knicks just drawing up switches and the proper matchups with just off-ball movement. Look how Josh Hart is lined up with Cade, but they're going to run this dribble handoff right here into a screen to get Cade matched up with JB. And the Knicks could be running the same exact thing. The Knicks have enough personnel to be running the same exact plays to draw favorable matchups for Brunson, OG, Mikal, and especially Cat. Just get him on Asir Thompson. Get him on Jalen Duren. Let's exploit some of this team's lack of experience. Here's a moment where the Knicks exploit the two Pistons' younger players. Josh Hart setting up Asir Thompson, and you got Jalen Duren involved in this right here. Now Duren overplays it because Josh could have easily had ghosted this. And we know Josh, he puts pressure on that rim, and he can also make the passes. But the Knicks catch him lacking anyway. Brunson taking advantage of Asar's inexperience. And Asar has been in foul trouble for a good minute throughout this series. He is very frustrated, but he's learning. He's going through the motions. This is why I say this series is really for the Knicks to shoot themselves in the foot. That's the only way they're losing. And now we're going to put this fourth quarter into proper perspective as the Knicks were also in the bonus with about 6 minutes left. So a lot of advantages were in their favor to end this game. We're talking about the Pistons not necessarily being hot from the field. Their two best three-point shooters were struggling at the moment in Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. And one of their best perimeter defenders in Asar Thompson already had 5 fouls with 5 minutes left. So let's put these closing moments into proper perspective. This is a young team with the game getting tight right here, overcoming a lot of adversity on the road. Josh Hart, this is great help defense. And Cade, this is another mistake he made in game one, trying to post up OG in crunch time. I don't know why he keeps doing that. The Pistons are better off getting switches to draw him a better matchup. Then he tried to post up Josh Hart. That was just another turnover. As you can see, Cade is still learning, going through his progression. But the Knicks had plenty of opportunities in this fourth quarter. You got to look at Bridges having the open three-point shot in transition. JB having that isolation play where he kind of took the three. He didn't have to. They could have ran a play to get an easier bucket, even if it was two, then apply that pressure of just the Pistons being that young team. But the issues were on both sides of the ball. As right here, there's a switch. And there's going to be a miscommunication right here. There's a second switch right here by JB only. Josh Hart wasn't expecting it. You see the frustrations. Yeah, communication has been an issue all year long. And for a second right there, it looked like Josh Hart switched it back. I really can't put the onus on JB. Let's look at that again. There's a switch here. What do you think it's on? It looks like Josh Hart kind of saw where Brunson was at, and he followed Harris back. I don't know. It's confusing. There should have been some communication. At the end of the day, talking just solves the issue. When you think about it, it's kind of crazy how two things can exist at the same time. The Knicks are just shooting themselves in the foot, but the Pistons, they have so many young players, and they're making a lot of mistakes in crunch time. So why not leverage that? Look at the Pistons right here. Up 2. It's crunch time right now. They're trying to maintain this lead. And right here, Jalen Duren as the roll man. How accustomed is he being in this exact position? Just making a quick decision, proper handles. This is a tight space right here. And the game is in its closing moments. So this exact possession right here, because he's not the only one making mistakes. Cade has made a few also, as we've gone over. And this is where that Pistons inexperience kind of correlates, because the Knicks down 3 in this possession when JB just pulled up with 16 seconds left in the shot clock. Just having the option for an easier shot. I mean, look at Josh Hart on this roll right here. There anything better than just this isolation pull-up 3, which has not been working all game long. The 2 wouldn't have been bad. Definitely could have been applying that pressure on this young Pistons team. It is what it is. This series is really for them to lose. And I'm not going to lie, the Pistons have had control of pretty much this whole series leading up to this point. And there's minor tweaks and adjustments the Knicks can make. We got to get more of an imagination on the offensive end. There's just no excuse for what we've seen in the third quarter in game 2. We have a lot of key guys just missing open shots. OG, Mikal. I mean, it's just the execution is not good at all. But I wouldn't go too crazy yet. We still have to shoot ourselves in the foot just to blow this. It will say more about us than the Pistons. So just stay positive. We'll see how Tibbs kind of works his magic. And until next time, you fellas, stay safe. Peace.